Hey everyone, I'm Smith. Yeah, that's my real name and not a pseudonym. Yes, I have a first name, I just don't use it. I'm the writer, producer, and director of the Extinction Trilogy, which starts with a film called 79 AE. We'll be releasing videos pretty quickly in the coming weeks where you'll get a chance to meet some of the cast and crew that have already signed on to the project, as well as videos about the story, its world, our budget, crowdfunding campaign, all of that. In the meantime, you can learn a little more about the movie, the world it's set in, the soundtrack, and the main character, Roper, by checking out the other videos on our YouTube channel. If you're watching this video on Facebook, the link will be in the video description. On Instagram, you can find the link in the bio on our page. I've been working on the Extinction Trilogy for almost 10 years, and I've done my best to create a unique and insane take on the post-apocalypse. This is not like Mad Max or Fallout or anything else I've ever seen, although their influences are there. I'll be making and releasing more videos pretty soon talking about all the aspects of the series that create its unique identity in the genre. It's not a comedy, although some of the character designs are completely ridiculous. The end goal here is absurd surrealism that's grounded in a brutal, gritty reality. Which I guess is absurd in and of itself. But for now, I'm going to be talking about the featured characters in the film. Who the characters are, who's playing them if somebody's already signed on to the cast, and who we'd like to have play them if there's not, etc., etc. Keep in mind that things are fluid. The character designs in this video are not final. In fact, some things have actually changed since they were made, which was quite recently. Also, some of the cast may have to drop out due to schedules and all that, depending on when we secure funding and everything else. So with all that said, let's jump right in. First up is Roper, the main character in 79 AE. Roper's a scavenger, or a scav, working for a man we know only as Aaron. He lives and travels with a nomadic clan of survivors. They spend their summer months up north, their winter months further south. They stop and set up their mobile towns several times a year and rarely set up in the same place twice, although they're always in the general vicinity of a good clean water source. Roper's job is to scout the ruins of nearby towns and farms for anything and everything that can be used by his clan. And I mean everything. From dried spices, canned foods, to tools, bits of scrap. In the world of 79 AE, no one can afford to let anything go to waste. Roper is intelligent, resourceful, and dedicated to his people. He's a man of few words, but also one just as much of thought as action. Very skilled with the gun, both in use and upkeep, but not one to waste bullets. He's not a murderer, but he is a killer if and when the need arises. These traits may or may not be attributable to his following the so-called path of bliss as it was presented to him. Roper's name is a tribute to the artist Eric Rover, who has painted and designed many album and book covers, gig and movie posters, and more. Roper is being played by DEMARCUS ECKFORD. Originally from Oklahoma, DeMarcus has spent the last several years building his credentials, skills, and resume as an actor in the smoldering pit of toxic air and excess known as Los Angeles. He's been featured in several short and feature films and commercials. He's a ridiculously talented guy, and I feel very fortunate to have somehow suckered him into this role. Next is Haze, who is named after another artist, Tom Hazelmeyer, also known as Haze XXL. He's the guitarist of the band Halo of Flies, the guy behind Amphetamine Reptile Records, and the artist who has done album covers of bands like The Melvins, Hammerhead, and plenty more. Haze, the character, is a talkative guy who likes to complain. He's not a bad guy, he's just not a happy one. He works as a scav alongside Roper solely because he thinks it's better than guarding camp or working crops, and he never really developed any interest or skills for anything else. Haze is being played by Dustin Kane, who played the title character in my last short film, M is for Master. Dustin doesn't see himself as an actor necessarily, but he's actually quite good at it. During the course of 79 AE, audiences will see two different small groups of raiders. These raiders are not connected to each other in any way, but ultimately, raiders are the same everywhere. Dirty, obnoxious, and as my grandfather would say, full of piss and vinegar, raiders are a blight on the wasteland. Typically dressed in old sporting goods as armor, because they're idiots, raiders hold to a might makes right mentality and kill, rape, steal, and burn the world around them indiscriminately, all in the quest for power and material things. The featured raiders in the film are all nameless to us and are known only by descriptions such as Raider Boss, played by short fiction author and musician Eric Longoria, Raider Scout, played by actress and producer Mary Dawn, who's been involved in every short film I've ever made, and directed the award-winning sci-fi short Seeds, which I am proud to have written. She's probably a little smarter than the average raider. No, not probably. Sundress Raider, played by Eric Eddy, who played the lead role in one of my early short films. What else can I possibly say? The dude was willing to wear a dress. Goofball Raider, played by Curtis Broadbent, a local haunt actor and a huge personality. And by that, I mean he's crazy in all the best ways. This character's also crazy, but maybe in some worse ways. He thinks he's basically invincible to the point of inviting attacks with a bullseye painted on his chest. The remaining Raider roles featured in the film do not yet have actors attached to them. We're always on the lookout for talented people to join us though. These characters are the Raider Sharpshooter, great shot and no one can understand why. The Raider Pack Mule, an oafish brute useful for carrying things and beating people down when they get close enough. And the Kid, a young raider who neither likes nor wants to be there, but survival is the better option. Next up are the Cannibal Cousins. These two guys are essentially the heads of an inbred family of cannibals that are modeled after backwood hillbillies you'd see in old movies. They're funny, but in a scary way, if that makes any sense. I'll let you guess which one gives the orders and which one does the cooking. Played by the brothers Holt, John and Justin. These two guys are old friends who helped make my last short film happen. They're talented musicians in their own right and will be working on this film behind the camera as well, with the three of us recording all the post-production Foley work and sound effects while sequestered in the middle of nowhere at their 40-acre studios. The most loathsome, hated group across the wastelands of 79 AE are the Ferals. No one has been cast as a Feral as of yet. These things are what happens to people who engage in cannibalism and incest over generations. Violent, degenerate creatures who have lost the capacity for language. They file their teeth to points and use the bones and untreated skins of the things they kill as clothing, armor, and weapons. Their only interests are killing, eating, and reproducing like animals. They aren't feral in a literal sense. They do have a social hierarchy, and each group has a leader or chief, a shaman, hunters, elders, gatherers, and breeders. Scattered across the wasteland of 79 AE, there are small townships and encampments of survivors, but also people who choose to live apart from others, trading with passers-by. This is one of those people. A mean, bitter, angry old woman who's unpleasant in so many ways. But what's probably the worst way? In addition to trading water, bullets, various bits of scrap, food, whatever, she also trades in people. Slavery exists in 79 AE, and anyone and everyone are potential property to people like her. She is a prime example of the worst parts of humanity left unchecked. This role is still uncast. People of legendary status to many in the wasteland are the cult of the cultivators. It is said they have a fortified settlement carved into a mountainside somewhere. They are rarely seen unless they are on a pilgrimage when they go out into the world to assess its status, teach agriculture to those willing to learn, and spread the word of the path of bliss, which includes the propagation and multiple benefits that come from the use of cannabis, which they call bliss flower. They are not aggressors in any situation, but approach life with a live and let live attitude. If people are interested in what they have to say, great. If not, they leave them be. However, if attacked or threatened, they will studiously defend themselves and their allies to the death if need be. They will not use guns, but are well trained in hand-to-hand combat. These roles are currently uncast, but if you got a keen eye and you know who he is, you might recognize Al Cisneros of the bands Sleep and Ohm as the model for the male cultivator. This is who we'd really love to have in the role, as it was the lyrics from his song Giza Butler by Sleep that inspired the cult of the cultivators in the first place. This is Henry. Henry is a donkey. Henry carries things. Not sure what else to say, really, but I like him a lot, so I've got an extra picture. This is the guy Roper finds holed up in a workshop he takes shelter in. As you might gather from the gaping hole in his skull, he's quite dead. In many of our promo videos and our posted synopses of the film, there is mention of creatures of myth and legend risen from the ruins of the old world. This is one such creature. If we are fortunate enough to make the full trilogy, other creatures will be brought forward, but for now, we got this guy. He's big, he's mean, he's angry, and he'll be played by Ted Dennison, our head of props, costumes, and practical effects. This is Aaron. Aaron is the leader of Roper's nomadic clan. He's also a former acolyte of the cultivators. He's a mysterious man and very little is known about him to anyone. One thing that is known is that Aaron believes he was somehow mutated by radiation in his youth and now sees or suffers visions of the world around him. Whether these visions are real or just dreams is a matter of debate. Just not with him. Aaron is named after musician and artist Aaron D.C. Edge of the bands Lumbar, Bible Black Tyrant, Helvetica, and others. As an artist, he was responsible for the layouts of many different album covers during his time at Southern Lord Records. This character was written specifically for one person from the very beginning, the Lord of Riffs, Matt Pike of Sleep, High on Fire, Callous, etc. He said something in an interview once about the meaning of heavy in music, how making a guitar sound heavy was like making it sound like a battle axe hitting an enemy in the head. And I was instantly like, that is a warlord in the making, man. And I wrote Aaron solely with him in mind. The role is essentially a cameo in this film, but if we make the second film, he's the main antagonist. Much bigger part in that. I've been trying to find a way to contact Matt Pike via a manager or an agent, but I found nothing. Zero. Zip. Nada. I'll keep trying because I'm having a hell of a time imagining anyone else in the role. If anybody's able to help with this, I'd be most appreciative. Like, film credit, maybe a supporting role appreciative. And finally, we have the confirmed cameos in the film. 2 guards, keeping watch over the entrance of Roper's home camp. They're going to be played by 2 guys from bands on our soundtrack. Spike from Dustlord, and Casey from Order of the Owl. These characters are integral to the closing of the film and how it leads to the future parts of the trilogy. And aside from a few small supporting roles and extras, these are all the featured characters in 79 AE. Thanks for hanging out and watching the video. I know it was long, but I hope it's given you an idea of what you can expect from the film and its potential sequels, and I hope it's piqued your interest in seeing the movie completed. This is a big endeavor. We want to make a professional film that you actually want to see, and once you've seen it, actually can say you enjoyed it. And even though we aren't budgeting hundreds of millions of dollars and paying thousands of people and A-list actors, we still have the locations, costumes, props, makeup, special effects, weapons, travel, food and lodging for the cast and crew, etc., etc. And it's all gonna cost money. We'll need all hands on deck, as they say, to get this done. Remember to throw us a like and subscribe to the channel so you can see all our future videos that we release. And remember to support your independent artists no matter what music you listen to or movies you watch. Voices from outside the big corporate studios and labels are where innovation and originality comes from. Thanks again. Until next time, I'm out.